Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped. Something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and you...
I actually feel a lot more awake. How does it sound now?
Oh my God, it's so much better. It's 10 times better. Yeah, I need to make that a rule. Nobody use AirPods.
Is this also good?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, no, just because I had it on speaker and now it's just on, attached to my ear, so to speak, against my ear.
It's so good.
Fantastic.
You okay with that? You're still comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Cool. Thank you so much.
I don't remember what I was saying. You asked me.
You were saying you were listening for 6 months. You had the email. Your therapist said go for it, and so you've listened to more than a handful of these conversations, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I actually did go back to the very beginning ones.
Whoa.
to find some first calls rather than revisits, because I thought I need to know what to do. And it's probably not it's probably bad because there's no rules or whatever. But I was I need to go and listen to some originals.
Yeah.
So
did you find some?
I did, yeah. They were just as I guess the word is generic or sounding, or yeah, they as in they was the same as every other one. They don't seem specific to a first phone call, but everyone sounds like a pro on them.
So many people say that. They say, "Oh, you listen. All the other callers are good at this, and I don't know how to do it." And I'm okay, they all say that.
I think it's just I had some education within the IFS world, and I think anytime I do sort of ed psych stuff, I'm okay, it makes sense. I'm very logical in my head, but then I'm I think the words throw me off when you're doing actual parts work, because the parts work does resonate with me, but then I'm is this an exile? Is this a firefighter? I don't know. I'm so confused.
Yeah.
And then I think I was just how do I come here and not, and the balance of not giving a history. And then whatever my therapist was no, that's the great thing about parts work. It's just as you come today, right now, right here, whatever works.
Yeah, it can be. And also sometimes some history is good. So that's fine too, I don't ask people for their stories. I don't.
Right.
So, and I know that's something that I do quite differently from like a traditional therapist who's going to have you fill out a form and explain all the every time you've ever been to the hospital and every medication you're on. And I don't do that.
Right.
But you know, sometimes that stuff, sometimes there's some relevant information. So,
Right.
yeah, you can share whatever you want. And even if you do not share any history, yes, we'll be able to do parts work.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not sure where to start.
Okay.
I know, like, I'm very rule driven. Like,
Okay.
lots and lots and lots of rules. So even like coming to this, it's like, where am I supposed to start? Because I want to do it right. And like, I feel like I automatically go into this like, I need to be told
Yeah.
how to do it.
Yeah.
And I think like parts work for me feels like something that I need to advocate for myself, or I need to draw out the parts.
Right.
And I think for me that's tough in some way. I don't know, like
Okay.
advocating for myself.
Yeah.
Being needy, even in a healthy way. I always feel like the burden. I don't want to put myself on to anyone.
Yeah, we can explore some of those. I have a question. You said that you said you have a therapist and that they're doing parts work. So are you already doing parts work with them?
No,
Or they're just aware of it?
Parts work?
No, you didn't say that. I made that mistake.
I said I've
they're aware of
explored
parts
work.
Yeah.
I did attend like a retreat last November, which was like a week deep dive group therapy, but it was like there were 5 of us in the country, whatever, and there was a lot of ed psych, and they exposed us to a lot of modalities so that you sort of leave there with like a toolkit of what you want to explore next. So part of that was a lot of education around parts work and a bit of how it works. And I've not done it formally ever.
Okay. Me neither. You know, I'm not formally trained at all.
Yeah, but I don't know if I wrote it in the email, but like, I don't know. I'm a nurse, and I'm from day one, I've always, the testing that should be there is not what the testing is to become a registered nurse. It's much more about the practice rather than just proving you can write an academic paper about.
I totally agree.
So, I think in general anyway, like these things work because of the person, not because of the papers that they've written,
Yeah, and the person's experience and love of the model.
Yeah. I was going to say in general therapy in general, they say like it's 95% the relationship, the therapeutic relationship, and about 5% the modality. So
yes, and I think that's true. I think that's even more so true for other models. The thing I love about IFS is that relationship that we're really aiming to build is between you and your parts. So I'll say things to callers sometimes like, I don't have to be that clever. You don't have to trust me that much. Like,
right.
I don't need to know your history, things like that, because it is your inner family and your inner leadership that is going to make the difference.
Right.
And I'll try not to interfere too much. Okay. So, do you know of any parts that you'd like to get to know better or change your relationship with?
don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if I can, if I sort of like can name them.
Yeah. And you named a couple already, I think, just when you were
Right.
telling me some of your stuff. So I can reflect back some of that I heard. Or another way to start is to like, they call it a trailhead, where you just basically, here's something that happened to me, here's something that is up for me, any emotion that felt extreme or difficult.
I don't know. It's hard, like with I guess the feelings of like having to give a backstory. So I'm like trying to figure out a bit of like which one would be right. I don't know.
Another, sorry to keep throwing questions at you, but another one is just fine. How are you feeling right now?
With that, I can do a bit more. I do feel like a tightness in my chest. And I feel like it's hard to breathe, kind of like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you feel about just bringing your attention to that part? Just notice it.
So this probably would be a good place maybe to start. Of like, I have, I guess, a part of me that's saying sort of like, don't give it attention because that's only going to feed into it. Better to ignore it and not make a big deal of it, because you're creating like an anxious state, or because I do often feel like I could like go down a rabbit hole. And
right, by focusing on anxiety, it would increase the anxiety.
Yeah. But then I have like an equal and opposite pole of like, no, to heal, you gotta feel, and like, something along those lines of like, you have to go through it, and you have to embrace it, and you have to this, and then it feels indulgent.
Okay, so there's the tightness in the chest, there's the anxious feeling. There's a part saying, let's avoid that because that's just going to exacerbate it if we look at it. And then there's another part saying, no, let's go towards it, and that's how we'll heal it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So see if you can just welcome all of those parts. Let them know that they're all welcome. That their opinions and their concerns matter.
I find myself like pushing some away and then fighting, again, like, no, they can all be here. And then, no, but I don't want them here. I don't even know which is which. But like, I think the conflict feels so big that they can't be together.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe that's accurate. Maybe they shouldn't all be so close to each other. But the welcoming can just be kind of a general, all parts are welcome, meaning they're okay. They're allowed to be here. You're right. Maybe it's not a great idea to have them all in the same place at the same time. But in general, they're all welcome. Are you able to send that message?
Yeah.
Is that one still fighting and saying, no, they can't be all welcome?
I think it's like, I don't know if I get confused with like the real self. I don't know if the real self is one of those opinions or if or if, I don't know, the real self is saying we can't, sort of like from a healthy place, that one of them, like we can't have them all here because the one that's wrong, so to speak, is not welcome. Again,
Right.
like I don't know which one that is, or I don't know.
And parts can have opinions and have very strong opinions, and it doesn't mean that it's unhealthy. I mean, they can be right. Parts can be totally right. And so, yeah, that's one more reason to be welcoming of them, is that they're there for a good reason. And so, it might not be so crucial to figure out, is this part accurate, or is this healthy, or is that part really just self, or is self agreeing with that part? Yeah, they've all got a good reason for saying what they're saying. So that's kind of the general welcome that I'm wanting to extend to them. And I understand that it's difficult, but it's a start.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Does it still feel like it's all too big?
No, but I feel like there's an aspect that I've lost the grasp on who everyone is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's okay.
I'm trying to really be very open with them. That, like really fighting to not judge them.
Yeah.
And to really be open to being receptive of their presence.
And the part that does want to judge them, what is it saying? Or what's its message?
I think what's coming up is like just rules. It's like the justice aspect, that like things have to be just right. Things have to be fair and honest and like the real right thing to do. So the fact that things are in conflict is really difficult for me. I think I see everything very black and white. There's very little grey in my life and in my internal life as well. Everything's very precise.
Yeah. So this part is saying that if there are parts in conflict, then something is wrong, and it has judgment around all that.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, for me that brings into like my being is broken. I don't know, like it probably feeds into like an I'm bad, because if I can't do the right thing, then I'm doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. So I'd like to welcome that part too, the one that has that judgment.
Okay.
And I want to welcome its concerns. And just acknowledge it. It's also got a good reason for being here. How would you feel about turning towards that one? And just noticing what you notice about it.
I feel like increased anxiety in my chest. Like I'm having to like breathe a lot.
Yeah.
Consciously. I feel like I was having to keep repeating, like, I see you. I don't know if that's right or wrong, or how, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you see it?
Yeah, I think so.
And the anxiety is saying, don't turn towards that one?
I don't know if it's don't turn to it, or if it's just there's like it's painful to see or to be with. I guess I'm very used to. I don't know about seeing it like this. I'm used to like sort of taking stock and shutting it down, or embracing it fully, that it becomes me, rather than looking outside of myself that's a part,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's kind of like when it becomes you, that's kind of what we would call blending. And when you're shutting it down, you could call that maybe exiling it.
Right.
So again, you can just acknowledge that and let the part know that you've seen that. You've seen how sometimes you blend with it, and that comes along with some problems. And sometimes you shut it out. And that comes with problems. And so you can just let it know that you see that. That you've seen how other parts have been hard on it.
Well, he's been hard on other parts.
That's right. Yeah. Right.
Because this is the judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this is where I feel like I get lost. Because I feel like I've already done so much jumping.
Well,
and I think my head's also like not 5 steps ahead, but like everything. I feel like I become very flooded.
Okay. Ask all the parts for a little space. Let them know that you'd like to get to know them. And if they will not flood you, that you'll be able to get to know them better. And I also want to let you and your system know that I'm taking notes and I've heard a handful of parts, and none of this sounds like way too much for me. And I don't want to dismiss how it feels for you, but this sounds normal and manageable from my limited experience.
Okay.
And you might just ask them to notice you. Just to notice you and your presence. How they respond.
I don't know if I'm getting massive responses.
Mm-hmm. Still feel like flooding?
A bit, I guess a bit, yeah. I feel like, but straight away, like, whoever it is comes in and is like, see, you're overindulging in this, or like, I feel like I just become all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get overwhelmed.
Yeah. And that's normal. It's normal for parts to blend. And we can even thank that part, the one that's looking out and saying, hey, don't overindulge, don't blend. We could thank it for its intention. It wants you to do this a certain way and to meet parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See if you can just thank it. Let it know that you see it. And I'll let you know that one thing that I'm kind of aiming for is trying to pick one part to get to know, because it is difficult to get to know any of them when there's 5 others kind of trying to get their time too. So you could send them that message that you'd like to get to know parts, and that the most efficient way is one at a time. And you could kind of look out for who do you feel like needs your attention the most.
Why? couldn't possibly pick.
Okay, that's fine.
Rules comes in, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
James should pick. He's in charge.
Yes.
You know?
All right. Well, the rule is that you should pick. No, there's all kinds of ways to pick. Typically I'm not doing the picking, although I could. I know who I would pick if I was going to.
See, like, I need to know now.
All right. Well, I will tell you, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just a part that I noticed and seemed like you were able to communicate with. Who was this pushy judgment one?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm only picking that one. I don't know why, but I'd also like to get to know the other ones. So I'm not really using a rule for that. I'm just kind of going on my gut there. And you can do the same.
I think what, like, a big part for me is, I don't know if it is the judgment or if it's, I'm calling it something else, I don't know, of like, along with this overindulging, like, you know, part of like I think I've developed like a very strong feeling or worry that my internal struggles have all been orchestrated by me. And like, I don't know if it even exists, but like, a Munchausen's, but like mental only.
Yeah. So so the idea is that you've set up this problem, these conflicts.
Yeah.
Like subconsciously, but kind of also deliberately, and you've created these problems. Yeah.
Yeah, and then from that comes lots of self-sabotage and getting stuck in ruts and staying there, and a lot of relationships are then like purely based off of like me in a bad space.
Yeah.
And I ruminate on it a lot that I've created all this.
So let's welcome that. Let's welcome the one who thinks that you've created all this.
That's a tough one.
Okay. It thinks that you've created all this. Just want to acknowledge that its opinion matters. And it's also welcome to share it.
That's so hard. Wow.
Okay.
I think because the narrative was always like, I'd have those thoughts and then I was like, go and validate them, find out if this is possible. And then never got anywhere. But then it was always like, if that was ever confirmed, I couldn't live with myself. Yeah,
that would be really difficult if you were to find out that you are the source of you're manipulating and you're causing this unnecessary inner conflict, that you wouldn't be able to live with yourself.
Yeah.
I get that. So let the part know that I get that. Let it know that you get that if you do.
Okay.
That its concerns are valid, or that we want to acknowledge them. And would it feel okay if I were to respond to that concern?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that it's entirely possible that there are parts in you that do what you might call self-sabotaging.
Right.
I think I have parts like that. And I think that that's normal. And I would say that the good news is that it's not you, self. It's not self that does that. So it's parts. And because it's parts, we can help them out. So the concern can be totally valid, that maybe some of that is going on, but it's not you self who sets that up if it is occurring.
Right. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. How does the worried part respond when it hears me say that?
How does which?
That worried part, the one that was worried about that, how does it respond when it hears me say that?
Comforting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then something else comes in. I don't know who. Just more. I don't know if it's a worry or a wondering if because I think I've sort of also gotten in my head or whatever that that when I'm in a bad place, I guess there's something very comforting to be there because I know where I stand. I feel very, I know what's going on. I know I'm feeling rubbish or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then it tends to be when I come up and out, I sort of don't feel like I don't really know who I am or what I am or how to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get into like thinking of like the real me is the low me, and then there's like this. So I become very split. I have this healthy side and this unhealthy side, and
yes,
and I don't know where I am because I just have these two parts that, in some ways, I'm miserable in both because even when I'm not very very low, I feel like I'm a fraud because I feel like the low is the real me. And it becomes it's a lot of splitting.
Okay.
And then I go
Those
down a
parts are
rabbit
welcome.
hole of like having like borderline personality disorder or something like that because I split so much and I don't know.
That makes sense to me. And I believe I've experienced something like that too. I've experienced that kind of, honestly, sometimes I'm least confident when I'm feeling great. Because I'm like, uh-oh, this is weird. Yeah, because I've felt not great so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've had that same feeling of like, well, if I feel not great so much, that probably is evidence that that's my true nature.
Yeah.
And sure, maybe I can go for a jog and, have a hug and now I'm feeling good. But that's just a crutch to keep me from my true nature, which is negative or dark. Something like that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think also like a lot of like, I know that I crave intensity in my relationships. And I think like so many of my, like when I make friends, it's always like the barometer of like how great this friendship is how vulnerable I've been with them. And like whether they've seen that side of me. So then like when I'm in a better place, it's like I think I even struggle to relate to like a load of my good friends.
Okay. Yeah. So
I always relate to them in this sort of needy, sad place.
So that to me all sounds normal, and it all sounds like parts. So the one, whoever's thinking, oh, this is the real me, the down one, and that's tragic. If it's down, it's a part. If it's feeling manic, it's a part. If it craves intensity, it's a part. And they are all part of you. They are all real parts of you, and they can take control. And some of them, you can have a depressed part that's in control for 10 years, and it starts to feel like this is my reality. And so I'm not denying that, but they are all parts, which means they're all welcome, which means they all have good intentions, and that we can probably help them out.
So what were we focusing on today?
How do you feel about how this has gone so far? Just us kind of acknowledging part and acknowledging another part. How has this felt for you? And your parts?
I feel like I know it's the beginning of how you got to do it. I think seeing them as sort of like outside of me is hard. Even just like, do I close my eyes or do I not close my eyes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, I know that closing my eyes in general is when doing any sort of work like this.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it's where the best work takes place, but also I become very enmeshed and very blended, as you would call it, very, very
That's
quickly.
Great. That's great that you noticed that. So you've noticed that closing your eyes can help you go deeper, but it can also feel like you can get sucked in more easily, right?
Yeah, I get blended. Like very lost. And
all right. So there you go. Yeah. You have there's one of your tools that you have some awareness of, the difference between the open and closed eyes.
Right.
And so that's one of the ways that you can modulate how much you want to kind of consciously blend with parts.
So then I think it also not complicates things, but then it's like you call it modulate, and I use the word control.
Sure, control, yeah.
No, but like I don't know if it's like I don't know like what I should be doing, which goes back to my rule part.
Yeah.
Like I'm very like I want to do it properly.
Right.
What does properly mean? You know.
Yes. Well, there might be some people who have some rules around how they do it, and I'm wanting to say this to the rule part and any other parts, and to you. I'm not much of a rule follower in general.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't do a lot of prescribing. Like, even if I always close my eyes when I do parts work, I would never tell you to, and I would never expect there to be a good solid rule around that.
Right.
So I just want to acknowledge that rule following part. Again, I'm not telling it that it's wrong or that that's silly, but I just want to let it know that I don't have a lot of rules. Okay. So I am willing to hear its concerns.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not going to be sharing a lot of rules just because I don't have a lot.
Right. In general, I think I'm fine with how it's going so far.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know if you'll agree, but I can definitely acknowledge loads of parts.
Yes.
But again, like I just struggle with keeping track of them, and like it's like almost like I want to physically, like I don't know. I see like maybe little cubes and want to write on all them which part they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
yeah,
because otherwise, I don't know, I get a feeling that I'm going to lose something somewhere.
Yeah.
Along the line.
That can be really helpful. There's a lot of ways to externalize it to help you out. I mean, I'm taking my notes and I can share them with you. There's also this recording that I'll be sharing with you.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you could be writing notes and drawing pictures and making a mind map or however you like to do it.
Okay. I'd probably maybe like re-listen and write down afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in the moment, for me, for today anyway, it's just being comfortable, lying on my back.
Yeah, I think you're doing great. I think you're doing great. You're noticing what you're noticing. You're being honest about it. You're sharing, you're speaking four parts. You're noticing when it feels like, oh, this is flooding, this is blending. And your parts have responded well to us.
Mm.
Earlier you said something like, that you think that this is how it's done in the beginning. And I just kind of wanted to offer that this might be the only way that it's done. This might be the beginning, middle, and end, if there's an end, which is noticing what's up, acknowledging it. That's what we do in the beginning. It's what we do later. And we can get, that can become more refined of like, okay, today I want to, maybe I'm choosing to spend more time with this part or that part, but still other parts will come up. And the goal is still to notice them rather than not notice them when they come up and getting kind of overwhelmed or blending. Is there a part out of the ones we've met that you feel like you'd like to get to know a little bit more right now?
I think probably this I've created it part.
Right. How do you notice that part in your body when it shows up?
I don't know if I've ever given that a thought, but you mean right now?
Yeah. Sensations, vibrations.
My spine.
Okay.
Yeah, my back, middle back. And then my head.
So like a tension or a heat or anything else you're noticing about it?
No, my back is like probably more like a shooting. Like some pain sensation. And my head, I don't know how to like describe it physically. It just feels like, I guess like it's hot and like expanding, like it's gonna explode.
Okay, so let it know that you're noticing it. You can invite it to notice you. And how are you feeling towards that part right now?
Distrust. Yeah, something like at a distance. There's something uncomfortable about it.
Okay. Let the distrusting part know that you see it, that you feel it. And see if you can just ask it for space, just for a little while. See if it will step back and let you get to know the one that says, I created all this. Just see how it responds.
It's resistant. Like it's protecting me from going there.
Yes.
Like I do get a sense of like impending doom, like opening a can of worms. If like to explore this aspect.
Yes. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, let it know that makes sense to you.
I also get this sensation, and I've had it before, and it's when I've got my eyes closed in like any scenario sort of like this, and it's like I'm in like a vast hall, like a massive auditorium, and I become like really, really tiny
Mm-hmm.
in a corner, and then either the other person or whatever I'm dealing with, the other object, or in this case, like this part of I created it. I don't know what it is, but it's really, really far away. So it's kind of like when I'm speaking about it and to it, that I'm yelling so that it can be heard.
Right.
It's like a real, like, I feel like I'm an optical illusion kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Can we stay with the part that has that distrust?
In the other part?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the distrust part aware of you there?
Yeah, I think so.
Great. How do you feel towards the one that has the distrust?
Like an ally.
Okay.
I think. Like I feel that distrust. Like. I get that that's trying to protect me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's what to be protected from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That all makes sense to me. See if you can ask the distrusting part to kind of step in front of you so that you can see it better. So we're asking it for a little bit of space, not so we can get away from it, but so that we can see it more clearly. Is it okay with that?
I think so.
Okay.
I just struggle to visualize, but I don't know if I need the visualization.
You don't need to, no.
Okay.
Just whatever feels right. How do you feel towards the distrustful part?
I'm curious.
Wonderful. Will you let it know that you're curious?
Yeah.
Again, invite it to notice you. You're the curious one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could ask it to tell you anything it wants. Ask it what it wants you to know.
Then it might not be safe going down there.
Yeah.
That I'm not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Something about that he's going to put up a fight.
Yeah. Does that all make sense to you?
Yeah, I think so.
It makes sense to me too. So let the distrustful one know that it makes sense to both of us. Is it receiving that?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. How long has it been doing this job for you?
don't know.
Okay. You could just try asking it if it has any idea how long it's been doing this.
It's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, like, since you were 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's worried that you wouldn't be ready to go and explore other parts, right?
I don't know about all other parts, but
This one, yeah.
yeah.
And what's it afraid of happening?
Loads of things have gone through my head, but then I've like dispelled them and been like, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. I don't know. It's like sort of something like that I'm not ready. But then I felt like I heard it say like, because then you'll get better. But I don't know. I'm very like confused by it, I guess. I don't know if like the self is coming in to answer and then it's confusing. Sort of like a voice of reason of like.
Could be. My guess is probably not. Yeah. Can you show it appreciation for its intention to have you not be hurt?
Yeah.
And how does that feel to it to be appreciated by you?
It's kind of like indignant, like, yeah, of course, like, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Has it not been appreciated much in the past?
I guess not. I think I just go between my parts so quickly that nothing's seen.
Right. Yeah, so we're doing something different now. Taking our time, learning about them, finding what their good intention is. And what would it rather be doing if it didn't have to work so hard?
I guess chilling until like there was an actual scenario where there was trust to be questioned.
Yeah.
At least I think that has to be good for something.
Well, yeah, because there are scenarios where we need to look out for the trust, right?
Yeah.
And try asking it how old it thinks you are.
How old I am right now?
Yeah, how old does it think that you are right now?
I got like a bunch of ages, but like it seems to have sat on like 21.
Okay. And is that your real age?
No.
Okay.
It's kind of like when it's cemented in me.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. No.
Okay. So update it with your real age.
Okay.
Let it know that you're not 21. You're also not 7 or 8. Some ages that came up earlier. How's it respond to that?
Kind of defensive.
Mm-hmm.
That like sort of like a right, but you seem to be stuck
Yes.
closer to 21.
Yeah. So I am guessing that there are parts of you which are stuck back there. And this part's kind of like one of them. It feels like it's kind of stuck at 21. There might be other parts that it's still trying to protect from those earlier ages that are also kind of stuck back there. And so it's not crazy for having those other ages in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But we just want to let it know who you are today. And also just to let it know that it's not alone and that you can help it. You can help it in the trusting stuff. You can help it in the going to parts that it's trying to protect. What's to think about all that?
I think I'm finding myself being like, we're going to hang out lots together.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like almost surprised
Mm-hmm.
that he's getting so much attention and like being taken seriously or being considered.
Yes. Yeah, that's what you can do. That's what you can do for every part.
Right.
You can give them all attention. You can take them all seriously. You can find out what they're afraid of. You can find out what they're working for. And you can welcome them. And they can come to know that real you. The one who's not, earlier we were talking about, is the real me this sad one or is it this other one? This is the real you. This is the you. This is self that's able to do all this. Able to be curious, not get overwhelmed, learn about parts, and provide for them.
Mm-hmm.
So how does it feel to you in this part, this idea of hanging out more together?
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Is there anything that it wants to, does it have any requests of you going forward about how to hang out or how to communicate or anything at all?
I think just to be heard, listened to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about noticing. Just write down everything he has to say.
I think that's great. That's what parts need.
Say ABC. Always be curious.
Right. And you can also let it know that sometimes other parts are going to blend. So I think self is always curious, but self isn't always in the driver's seat. So that's life. Right. That's parts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when you make time and you do this and get space from other parts, you will be curious, and that will be healing and encouraging of a relationship with parts.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Do any other parts have any questions or concerns that they want to share now about this process, about anything at all?
Only that did I create all this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't get to that part.
Yeah, I think like it's just sitting there being like, I almost got dealt with.
Is it kind of sad about that?
I don't know if there's a sadness or there's I got away with it kind of vibe.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think because
would you like to spend maybe 10 more minutes talking about that with me?
I don't mind.
Okay. So turn to the distrustful part and ask it if it would be okay now to give you just a little bit of space to go and learn anything about the part that says I created all this.
I think he's fine with it.
Great. I
don't know if this part just came very near to me. Like I guess I'm a bit confused. How?
Well, which part felt like it might have come near to you?
Did I create this?
Okay.
Like unnecessarily close. I'm kind of okay with it. I don't know.
Let it know you're okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Let it know that it's welcome and that you got the distrustful part to step back. How do you feel towards it?
Like, I almost don't want to say it, but like I'm ready to dive in. But like another part wants to just stay put and don't go there. But
okay. Well,
we can
thank the part that wants to stay put, and I have my own parts coming up about how much diving to do, if only because of the amount of time that we've spent already. Mm-hmm. So I know that my own energy will start to dip here pretty soon. But but if you're feeling curious about it and you're not feeling afraid of it, then that's probably why you feel ready to dive in.
Right. I have self-doubt.
Mm-hmm. And what's
I don't know if it's self-doubt or if it's
what's it saying?
Like you're being reckless.
Reckless, right? Is that more of that distrustful part saying, wait a minute, you're going too fast?
Maybe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. So I want to respect that and let it know that
I think
I think we also shouldn't dive in.
Yeah.
And I think just getting a little closer with this part is good.
Mm-hmm. I think that was kind of like I don't know why I see them like swimming. Like it floated over and I was like, what are you doing right here, right now?
Yeah.
And I guess it was just like wanting to be seen and
it wants to be seen
and heard.
And again, right now, how do you feel towards it, seeing that it wants to be seen?
I feel okay, but I guess I feel somewhat detached because as soon as I sort of approach it
Mm-hmm.
or consider actually listening or seeing it, then comes all this the self-doubt and the distrust comes back. So it's like it's kind of like a morbid fascination, but like
but the distrust isn't
pretty.
Okay, that's great. Thank the distrust part and let it know again it's welcome. And we don't want to go, when parts want to jump back in, they're welcome to.
Mm-hmm.
Let it know that we're not going to dive in. You could ask the distrustful part if there's some way that it would feel okay for you to just learn a little bit more about this. Did I create it all part? Does it have a suggestion for how to do that in a safe way?
So it's like a dipping the toe in, but like I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So it would be okay with you dipping your toe in?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank it for that. And then turn back to the one who asked, did I create all this? Let it know that you're only going to dip your toe in.
Mm-hmm.
Ask it to please not overwhelm you or share too much because you only want to dip your toe in right now. Or that we made that agreement to another part.
Mm-hmm.
Would it feel okay to ask it what it wants you to know?
Yeah, I'm just getting, maybe you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Does that make sense to you that part feels like maybe you did create it all?
I don't know.
Okay. But it thinks that. It thinks maybe you did.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'm too scared of that.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So when I'm asking if it makes sense to you, I'm only asking if we can acknowledge that part feels that way.
Okay.
I'm not saying, do you think maybe you did? I'm saying, does it make sense that this part, the first thing it wants to say is maybe you did? It's just acknowledging. Mm-hmm. It's just acknowledging. I understand that you part feel that way. I get it. Does that feel okay for you to do?
Yeah.
Great. Does that feel like just dipping toe? We're not going past the toes?
No.
Great. Okay. Great. Would it be all right if I were to offer, again, kind of what I think might be going on?
Sure.
Okay. I think that self, the one who's curious, doesn't have that quality by definition. Self doesn't seek to create conflict. Its nature is to diffuse conflict and to welcome parts and to understand them. So there might be other parts that have caused inner conflict. In fact, you could kind of say that's what parts do. They fight each other and they fight for attention. And so that's kind of the message that I would want to send to the one that says, did I create all this? Is that in a way, yes, because parts, but it's not I self who created all this.
Right.
So it's acknowledging that maybe some of this was created internally. And if so, there's probably a good reason for it. And if so, it's parts. So
Right.
that's kind of the message that I would want to send it. But I understand, we didn't want to go more than toes deep. And this would be a much bigger conversation that we can have with it later.
Right.
How's that feel to you and to that part to hear that?
I think it makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Equally, I feel myself fighting it because right now I don't think I can fully separate parts and self.
Right. Okay.
So.
Yes. Well, you did a great job.
Yeah.
You really did a great job in this conversation. And we got to know the distrustful part. You acknowledged and recognized so many parts.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're able to say, I just want to go in toes deep with this part. And you're able to do that. You're able to respect the part, the distrustful part. It sounds like we did it right to me. So you can let the rule follower know that I think that we didn't necessarily follow the rules. And once again, I see IFS doing what it does. I see self doing what it does with parts.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel like that to you? Does it feel like this was a productive or...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Illuminating conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Great.
Definitely.
Okay. You can let the one know, the one who says, did I create all this? Let it know that you can come back to it another time. And to thanks for sharing what it shared.
Right.
Thank the distrustful part. Thank all the other parts that made themselves known. Let them know you can come back for all of them. How are you feeling?
Tired.
Yeah. Yeah, you've done a lot.
Yeah.
What time is it where you are?
12:40.
In the...
Bedtime.
At night? Wow, okay.
Yeah. I feel like it was very productive.
Yeah.
And equally, like, opening up lots and lots of little pockets of things in my head.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how my week goes and what comes up,
Yeah. Let me know. Keep me posted. I'm really slow on email, but if you do end up figuring out Discord and I'm there. You can chat with me every day there. And I'm happy to keep working with you if you want me to find more time to do that.
Okay. Yeah. I'll keep you updated. Cool. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. It's really nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Okay. Thanks to all your parts.
Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Okay. You too. Good night.
Right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.